Some writers, as they're working on each scene, each exchange of dialogue, they are writing for the overall arc of the story. Some writers are writing for the plot progression. Some writers are writing for the transitions in a relationship between two of the characters. Some writers write for that chain link of cause and effect that runs through the story. So let's say that you're working on dialogue, and the mode you're in is for the overall story arc. So in the back of your mind, what is driving you forward in the enjoyment of writing this dialogue is how it will add to the overall story arc. Enter the era of moving pictures and sound. Let's look at when filmmakers make a film, are they writing each scene? Are they directing where the characters will stand and what they will say, mostly for the plot or mostly for the theme of the film? The interesting thing about a lot of filmmakers is their emphasis is on the scene. Everything in the film is to add to enhance, to improve, to heighten certain scenes. And if you look at Quentin Tarantino films, a lot of them are they emphasize scenes. When becoming aware of what the story is being written for, that is, if it's being written for the plot or if it's being written for the theme, ask yourself, what kind of power of entertainment is this work trying to achieve? If the power of entertainment, if it's a very plot-oriented story, then every part of that story is being written for the plot, is trying to add to the power of the plot to entertain. If the story is a romance, then everything that happens in the story is trying to add to the transitions of that one relationship throughout that story. I think filmmakers get used to thinking in terms of scenes. The whole nature of their work causes them to focus on a story in this new way, and that is, they're setting up a scene, so for a time being, it's all about that scene. It's all about that scene. And even the relatedness of that scene to other scenes in the film are really only to contribute to the entertainment power of that one scene. So the plot still needs to be very strong, but the plot begins to become a supporting factor in a scene after scene, where each scene becomes the entertainment power force in the story. As story creators, we can learn to focus on our stories. We can pick up the lens of theme, and we can look at any part of a story we're working on and ask ourselves, how does it contribute to a theme? And through looking through that lens, we can scrutinize our story in a very useful way. And we can put that lens down and pick up the lens of plot and ask ourselves, how is it contributing to the plot? Put that lens down, pick up another lens and say, how, in this scene, how is it contributing to a more entertainment power scene? See, when writers are trying to improve their stories, a lot of the time they're trying to add dimensionality to them. So a story isn't just all about plot. It could really emphasize the plot a lot, but focusing on the story as how every part of it contributes to theme is a great way to add another dimension. So that whatever is happening in the story, yes, it is contributing to plot, and yes, it is contributing to the transition of a relationship that is always in the minds of the readers. It could be in their conscious minds or in the back of their minds while they're the whole time they're reading your story. It could be that one scene. They walk away and they're haunted by that one scene. They remember it. They like to talk about that one scene, joke about it with their friends, and if it's a great scene, it becomes an iconic scene, one of those movie moments. So let's develop those lenses. Let's create for ourselves a toolbox full of just, imagine a nice wooden box full of all these lenses, and you can pick one up, and when you look through it, you see your story in a very certain way. And let's be influenced by the filmmakers today. Let's, instead of writing a short story, let's just write a scene, and it, for whatever entertainment reason, whatever makes just the one scene, let's forget about everything else and do it once, or once a day, or once a week. However many times you think works for your development as a writer. Write just a scene. I know it's very helpful to write a short story. Think of this, don't even think of it as a very short story. Think of it as a scene. Even though it's still a part of storytelling, it's in the smallest form factor possible for a story. And what are the different reasons why scenes can hold the power of entertainment? I think of the fact that even though a lot of people consciously tell themselves they should not, the fact is that traffic slows down when there's a traffic accident. That scene, there's something instinctually captivating about a traffic accident. So creatively, try to come up with a scene that holds its own. Try to write the most interesting scene you can imagine up. Start collecting them. You can get a pack of index cards and try to come up with new ones until you use up all the cards in that pack. Try to look for scenes, search for them. When you see a scene, when something gets your attention, think of it as a scene. Imagine it being reproduced for a movie or on a stage. If you were to write just that scene, forget about backstory, forget about where the scene what will happen afterwards. Just focus on that one scene. So remember, these days, even when people are reading a book, they bring their movie watching mindsets to the story. So if you write for the power of the scene that the story is taking place in at that time, your readers will respond to that. Focusing on scene by scene, it's a great way to take another look at a story you've written. And a lot of the times it's those final scenes that is kind of like the whole point of the story. But what about the earlier ones? What about the opening scene? Striving to develop ways of becoming better, not so much better storytellers as better scene creators. We can find new ways of, an opening scene is going to be better for different reasons than one of the scenes in the middle, and finding new reasons why those scenes will be interesting. It's an interesting thing that happens in life, and it's an interesting thing that happens in stories. It's that usually we're trying to get somewhere. We're working towards something, but it's the things that happen along the way that can be the most interesting of all. And in a story, it's going somewhere. It's going towards that great ending. But usually it's along the way that the funny and the things that pull at our emotions, that they don't necessarily have to be completely for the overall story to be powerful entertainment in their own right. I hope that was helpful. If you like my videos and want to get me back, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend, get this link out in the internet, help spread this link like seeds throughout the internet by Twittering it, Google Plusing it. Have a question, leave it in a comment. Also, please take the time to go check out my illustrated story at solomation.com called Terrible Immunity. It's a bizarre alternate reality story. I hope your writing goes great. I hope that new ideas are flocking to you like wild birds from a strange land, and that you're able to find places for them. Keep up the good work and have a good day.